What is going on, everybody? Stubbs here from Retro Handhelds. We are back at it again with another Android handheld. This time, we're looking at the MANGMI Pocket Max. So you might have remembered MANGMI because they had the Pocket Air X last year. It was a whole thing. One of the awesome budget options for under $100. You'd get widescreen, upscaled PSP support, and all kinds of goodness. And for a Snapdragon, what was it, 662 over there? Yeah, it was not bad. So now they're back on the market. They're bringing an OLED screen now, 144 hertz refresh rate in this bad boy. Swappable buttons, meaning that you can pop out these little magnetic modules and you get either clicky or you get mushy rubber membrane. And also, you're looking at these full-size sticks, all glass front. Very AYN Odin Portal-like. We don't know the price yet today, so this is not going to be a review. This is going to be an initial, first look. We'll take a look at some games, and I'll show you some benchmarks and just things I've been trying out on this in the last 24 hours that I've been playing around with it, and kind of give you just an initial idea. But I really can't give you a recommend until we know the price. This needs to come in at most about $200 to $220, or it's really dead in the water versus the awesome sale right now, anyways, on the AYN Odin 2 Portal right here. This having the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and this has the same Snapdragon 865 that you got in the Retroid Pocket 5, which is also around $200. So ideally, we're looking at under $200. We will find out tomorrow from MANGMI. We will also get launch information when their pre-orders go live. So stay tuned on their website and on this channel. We're going to be going into full coverage mode here as we take a look. In today's live stream, we're going to be looking at GameHub here, as well as Nintendo Switch, just some higher end emulation and streaming. And what else did I say in the dang description? Oh yeah, PS2. So we'll kind of keep it nice and focused, and we'll see if we get into shenanigans. I also want to do comparisons, weight tests, and some heat. With that, live stream, how are you guys doing? Live chat, what's going on? Bust out the cargo shorts, yes. I might have those on, but I shan't tell you. Okay. All right. So I got this in, like I said, about, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 hours ago. Just in the last 24 hours, I've been playing with it. MANGMI sent this over for review. This is a pre-production model, but they did let me know that they're currently in production mode and they're building all the retail models right now. And that the pre-order should come up pretty quick here. And when I asked, I said, is $200 about right? And they said, that's a very solid guess. So we'll see what that means. You do have the option of a screen protector here. This is going to cover the full front. I generally don't put these on because I like to have as much height as I can on these buttons. And it's already an all glass front. So I tend to not put these on, but it is an option. This one also came with their official case. What's nice about the case is that it can fit these modules. You could put up to, if they sold these separate, which I really hope they will, like some options to change them from ABXY or Xbox to Nintendo mode or PlayStation mode. This could fit about 4 of those in here safely. And it does not make contact with the screen. It just barely stops short. If you were to push down, you'll click on them a little bit. So, do it at your own discretion there. But nice tight case. Put your cord in there. As far as the packaging goes, let's see what else is in here. So here's the box. This has, let's see, I don't know if they call it out here yet. So this is the one that has, and this is the only SKU that I know of, it's going to be 8 gigs here and 128 gigs of internal storage. I like it when companies stick to one SKU. They focus on making one thing. Standard USB-C to USB-C cord. And this is just a manual. It's a manual. Ooh, quality control. All right. And producer Sony and I are running solo tonight. So if I miss your live comments, I will try to stop at different points throughout and just kind of catch up on chat. But I am not ignoring you. I will read it, if not now, then later, and hopefully get a chance to respond. Stubbs, do you have an error at your studio? Wonder what the size comparison? Yeah, so actually we're going into size comparisons right now. What a timely question. So here's the first one, the MANGMI Air X. Compared to the Pocket Max, I mean, they definitely maxed it out. So you're looking at a 7-inch 1080p screen here. Comfortable. This has a nice bump out. This is very comfortable. A big bump out with this silver line there for some reason. I don't know what that's about or what that's for, but it's an option. Okay, very good. Also, you can have the option of these M1, M2 buttons back here. Now let's just take a quick look at the device. I know not everybody has maybe seen this yet. So you got air intake there, air exhaust out the top, volume up and down, power button. You do have a 3.5 headphone out, USB-C charging. The charging in my testing today, I maxed out at 25 watts for fast charging. That's as much as I could push it there. Micro SD card here. I have a 2 terabyte SanDisk Extreme card in there, so it does handle up to 2 terabytes okay. These, of course, modules, which are interesting. They're a little tough to get out. They might want to include like a pry tool or something. They're strong magnets. And so getting them out took me a quick second. You kind of have to they're not the easiest things to get out of there. I put it in way too tight here. Might actually need to get a tool. I just, pushed that in way too tight. We'll come back to that in a second. But you got full-size joysticks. They do pop off. They're this hex style, so you're not going to be doing hype sticks. But other brands, like maybe the one that comes with the 8-bit dough, this ball, or other ones like that style will be able to go on there. You have LED lighting around the ring as well. So these are the mushy rubber membrane buttons I put in here, the D-pad as well as the face buttons. Let's get a quick ASMR. Nice and quiet there compared to these clicky ones. These are, these are a little loud. They're fine. I didn't care for them, though, when I was trying them out. I just prefer the rubber membrane in general. It's cool that they offer these, but again, I think the bigger value would be to give us differently placed ABXY so you could have different configurations there. The D-pad's good. It's nice to have a clicky D-pad sometimes. We have that on the Retroid Pocket 6. And then looking at the shoulders, got L1 and R1, nice and quiet there. Very comfortable. Again, reminds me of the Pocket Evo, both the L1 R1 and the L2 R2. L2 R2, the way it bottoms out kind of bothers me a little bit. It makes contact here with the back, and it's not my favorite way of doing this. Like just a bit of grit or something added here. The motion on the portal feels better. You see how it doesn't actually, this part doesn't actually hit the bottom, so it just feels a bit better using it on the portal. Yeah, other than that, it's comfortable. The ergonomics are nice. It feels more comfortable. in general use versus the Portal. The Portal, you get a smaller backside there. And generally, I will use this with its grip. This is the one handheld where it's so awesome. Great performance, really nice Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. But without the grip, it's just not super comfortable for a long time. So I think that's really the benefit of this. But with the Portal being $250 right now for the base model, this has some stiff competition. I like the plastic on here as well. It's a matte plastic. I'm not getting fingerprints on there. And it's very lightweight. So I really want to dive into comparisons here in a second. Yeah, and the screen, of course, being that OLED, is gorgeous. And they have their own software here, which is cool. So you can kind of switch between modes and change the refresh rate between 60, 90, 120, and 144, which is the native refresh rate. Even streaming through Artemis works at 144. So with the Snapdragon 865, you don't normally get that great of decode times, but I got this down to around 2.25 milliseconds for average decode, which is pretty cool for this. I really think that this is going to be a great streaming handheld, and ultimately that's probably going to be my use case for it, although I was surprised at some of the Switch emulation performance, which I don't expect much out of this chipset. But the latest Eden they've been cooking, and the latest Turnip Mr. Purple drivers there, not bad. Yeah, so there was a quick look. And Sony, can we pull that one up? Sorry, one more time. I was trying to see which version I... Yeah, so okay, so that was the 720p at 60 hertz mode in Artemis there. And that is just, yeah, some of the lowest I've seen for this chipset. If we take a look at the other one, this one's going to be 144 hertz at 1080p. So here's what we're looking. So it's a little bit higher refresh, or a little bit higher latency on that, but not by much. So here's a look at that. So we're seeing about 3 milliseconds decode there. So this is just primed to be a great streaming handheld. And that's kind of where my focus really is on this. Because it's not going to best the Portal at what the Portal's doing. I just don't think so. It's trying. It's definitely trying. The software here in the early days has some definite jank about it. You know, there's just some funny Android settings, like it defaults to that 3 gesture mode, and Play Store was giving me some funny errors. I got it all working now, and I'm up in Play Store. And sometimes, like right now, I'll click on something and it just doesn't want to open. So they need to patch out some of this early jank, which I have no doubt they will. But, you know, again, we got to take a look at this for what it is today. And there you go. Now it's being responsive. I like that they have this sidebar. You can long hold the home button to access this. And you get your fan modes. You get your performance here. And here's a listen to the fan real quick. So that's on extreme. It's not whiny. It does get fairly loud. Balanced. A little bit more of a whine to it there. Quiet. Great. That works well. And then turning it off. It doesn't get that hot, but we'll take a reading today. The different performance mode. We got power saving, balanced, performance, and streaming. generally balanced, has been pretty good. I haven't needed to push it a ton, but I was pushing it in benchmarks if you want to see that. So I had it in the performance mode and in the extreme fan setting. So Sony, if you don't mind pulling up our benchmarks. So I was looking at 3D Mark with the Wildlife Extreme test, Wildlife Extreme stress test, that is. And this is some cool stuff. So this is right on par with the Retroid Pocket 5 results. A 1225 there for best loop. Lowest loop is 1216. You got 20 loops it runs through. Stability is at 99.3%. The RP5 as well, we're looking at about a 99% stability there. Just very, very consistent for all the runs and the loops it was doing there. So close to the Retroid Pocket 5. One thing that we're seeing, though, and Ban mentioned this today to me, is that we're seeing... What did he say here? Okay, so he's saying the 3D Mark score seems to be about 80 to 100 points lower than the Retroid handhelds for the 865. So this is winning just a little bit. And that's probably because it has a bigger body and more, heat, more heat distribution there, if I had to take a guess. Also, battery drop during that 20 loops or so. We're looking at 91% down to 85%. Temperature was fluctuating between 28 degrees Celsius, 30 degrees Celsius, frame rate 5 to 10. So, again, very close to the RP5. So what you have here is a bigger RP5. That's the takeaway for me. RP5, another one I tend to use with a grip from time to time. It's not the most comfortable to me. RP6, with its 8 Gen 2, costs more money. These are around the same price point, but the RP6, love the ergonomics on here and the bump out they have there. This is a fantastic handheld. Great option. RP5, though, of course, is still great as well. 865, meaning you get compatibility with Linux. You get great drivers and turnip drivers for Switch and whatnot, and GameHub. So if you love your RP5, but it's just too small for you and you want something bigger with a more luxurious screen with higher refresh rates, for the right price, this one's looking pretty solid. Very comfortable joysticks. There's a look at the dust and fingerprints that accumulate. Not really getting fingerprints to stick. You will attract some dust, though. I'm not ready for gameplay yet. Come on, Zenless Zone Zero. All right, continuing on comparisons. Here it is next to the AYN Odin 3. Another extremely comfortable, but more expensive Snapdragon 8 Elite handheld. Fantastic. Conquer Pocket Fit from AYN. Another comfortable handheld. A little bit smaller, but ergonomics-wise, one of my favorites from last year. And this has the... Oh, gosh. There's so many chips. Snapdragon G3 Gen 3, I want to say. If I got that right, I want McDonald's to give me a free ice cream cone. And here's a comparison. The Logitech G Cloud. So the G Cloud is, known for its streaming use cases, but with an older Wi-Fi 5 chipset in here, it's really starting to show its age. However, it's super lightweight and comfortable, but this is now also in that realm of super lightweight and comfortable, also with a 7-inch screen. And this is, around $300 USD on a good sale, maybe $250. I've seen it for $200 in the past, but we're entering that realm in 2026 where we're just not seeing prices go down. They're just going up. So I think this easily beats out both the Logitech G Cloud for streaming performance, for, of course, the performance in general for emulation. And here we go. Oh, and thanks, Sony. So we got decode times there. If you want to compare, there's the 720G that's in the G Cloud 11.5, the Air X with 11.5 from the Snapdragon 662, and the Snapdragon. Do we have the 865 on this test sheet yet? We got to add it in. All right, but there's the G1 Gen 2, Tensor G5. 11.5 is rough, basically. It's a rough experience if you're playing shooters or anything that needs quick twitch gaming. Quick look next to the Nintendo Switch Lite. RG557, another very comfortable lightweight handheld. G2 from Retroid, Odin 2, comfy, awesome, and Odin 2 Mini. This is both of these last two I'm showing are now discontinued though. So the Portal and the Odin 3 are really AYN's focus now. And why not? If you're doing 7 inches, if you're going to play with 7 inches, then you gotta think about the fact that you could be playing with 8 inches. Don't clip that out of context. I see producer Sony giggling in the back room. Okay. Steam Deck, of course, comfortable. You know what this is. And this just get a Steam Deck bro crowd. It's tougher to say that these days because they discontinued the base model. So, you're starting with the OLED around $500, $550 price point there. And this, if we can get this around 200, will be a decent option. Performance-wise, you're not getting anywhere close, but it is a consideration. All right, let's take a quick break and look at chat. Let's get some cozy time music. Is there a link to those decode times? No, it's in our Discord, actually. Yeah, we have it pinned. We have it pinned in a few spots in the Discord. I'll have to go poke around there. Or just freeze frame this live stream. All right, we got some starred comments. Is Rocknix possible? I believe so. Same chipset. The team probably have to, take into account the different variables here and make some adjustments, but yeah, I think so. I kind of think the only real use case for this is streaming, given that it's basically last gen power. Yep. For emulation, you're probably better off with the RP6, the Retroid Pocket G2, the Odin 3, or the Odin 2 Portal. Absolutely. And I have another point to make on that in a minute. Will this replace the G Cloud? For me, absolutely. Does Android latency add to the decode latency? That's a good question. I don't think it's not counting button input latency. So I've never thought about that before. As far as Android latency and just, when you're playing games, I don't notice any perceivable latency on this model. Can it run Ori? The only one I've loaded on today that's going to be short for the game streaming and the game showcase stuff, I just loaded on Hades 2. So, but I've gotten Ori to run on the RP5 and a lot of the other handhelds, even some of the lower end Ambernics. So I have a good feeling about that. Does it play Parappa the Rapper? Yes, for sure. That's a good latency test, actually. 179 would be an Instabuy, 200 okay, 225 nah. Yep. Yeah, I was telling the team yesterday, I was like, if you guys are going to price this above 200, you're really going to have a tough time. And if you're going above 220 or 225, that's just game over. I don't think it'll sell. No matter how good it is with this chipset inside of it, it's going to be tough when you have other options. Build quality feels good. It's not as like premium feeling as an AYN handheld. And I don't know. I was thinking about this earlier. I don't know how to quantify that. Other than it's just kind of a general overall feeling when you're using it. You're like, okay, this is definitely a MANGMI product. You know how the Air X kind of feels in comparison to others in its ilk? You're like, okay, this is a budget option. This feels like a budget AYN handheld, like a budget AYN portal. And while it feels good and all the right things are there, like the glass front and the button feel, and these buttons do feel pretty fantastic. Yeah, overall, there's a certain budget factor to this that I will try to put into words as we go along here. But comparing it to, really, I think the better handheld overall, spend a little bit more, get this while it's on sale. Awesome. There's a comparison to be made here if you really wanted to compare these two. Sony, I think we had a graphic from David in our Discord, who's a user in the MANGMI Pocket Max channel, who's been sharing a lot of information and kind of keeping the hope alive for people who were waiting so long for this. Okay, there we go. So with the portal, we're looking at the 7-inch screen OLED up to 120 hertz. This one does 144, which is a point in favor of the Pocket Max. 8 Gen 2, it's gonna blow away the 865 for performance, but you do get DDR5 8 gigs in the base model of the portal compared to the DDR4 of 8 gigs in your Pocket Max here. And for storage, UFS 4.0 128 gigs in the portal base model, as well as UFS 3.1 here in the Pocket Max, also at 128 gigs. Wi-Fi 7 in the portal, so you're going to be getting, because of the chipset and the Wi-Fi 7, you're getting a little bit better for the streaming performance there. Wi-Fi 6 in the Pocket Max, Bluetooth 5.3 for you audiophiles up in the portal, and then Bluetooth 5.1 in the Pocket Max. And this does have the magnetic modules to swap out between the clicky and the mushy D-pad and face buttons. Okay, thanks, Sony. Bad Wolf, 7 inches. I hope that's big enough for you, he said to her. Haha. He's talking about something funny. Zoo, I can't handle beardless Stubbs. I'm pulling the ripcord. Now, Zoo, I'll grow the beard back. Feels good to start fresh at the beginning of the year, right? Hair grows. It groweth back. Please compare size with the Aya Air. Which Aya Air? The Pocket Air, the Pocket Air Mini. I don't have the regular Air right now. But that is a good size comparison. That has the Dimensity D1100. Yeah, all I remember about that is that the decode times are awful on the Aya Pocket Air. Yeah. 6th Gen. Stubbs, I have a Conquer coming in the next couple of days in a RG35XXH. Would it be a logical next device I should buy? Dude, if you're getting the Conquer, I probably wouldn't add on at that point. You're kind of replacing the same form factor with the same form factor, and you're getting more power and oomph out of that Conquer. Yeah, the Pocket Fit, despite AYN's track record for all the things, this is an awesome handheld. So it's not an OLED screen, though. That's the only real knock I have against it. Yeah. Oh, well. Okay. Is it powerful enough to play Switch? Yes. Some titles. Not all titles, but some titles, yes. We'll show that in a little bit here. All right. Thanks, Sony. Continue to star those for me, if you don't mind. Okay. And yeah, one last look at this. If ergonomics and comfort is your main thing, then this starts to be a lot more attractive versus the Portal. That's it. If you don't want to deal with the grip. Almost all the other ways we mentioned, minus like the higher screen refresh rate here, I'd recommend the Portal. And yeah, Conquer does have a great IPS. Good call. All right, so let's take a look at some games. So here we're looking at GameHub, the latest version. This is Hades 2 on Steam. These sticks are so big and luxurious, though. That's one thing I noticed here. Remember the Loki, the AYN Loki? It had those big old sticks. It kind of feels like that. I like the feeling and the placement of the left stick. I do not like where they place the right stick. That's the one just thing that irks me about where they're putting the placement there. This works well and it's comfortable. So the left side, comfortable hand. Really nice grip. Right side, especially when I'm playing shooters, this right stick, it's just a little bit, I don't know where it needs to be instead, but I don't know, maybe something like right there. But yeah, right here, it's just a bit awkward to where I'm kind of pulling my hand in. I'm kind of pulling off the grip a little bit to get that. This is right. So on the Portal, that's the better placement for the right stick. And as far as what we're doing here, listen to these speakers. I should have pushed start to pause that dang game. We're on balanced mode right now, so if you want to see how much we can push it, we can put it up to performance. It doesn't really need it, and we're at 120 hertz. There. Let's put this up to 120 over here. Can you put me back? Ooh, Brood. Also, it's hard to see, but the speakers are front firing. Look at this. They put a little speaker in between the buttons on each side. I don't think I've seen that. It's an interesting choice. But yeah, movement-wise, these sticks, especially this left one, just feels awesome. All right, that's just a real quick look at GameHub. We'll take a look another day at some more stuff there. Looking at Android gaming, let's see how Zenless Zone 0 handles. And you see we capped out at around 75 FPS. So I'd probably stick to 60 instead of trying to push to 120 on that one. Synchrotron, how does it slap? Pretty good. Slaps pretty good. Here's a listen to those speakers. So you get a nice resonating sound out of this. I don't think that they beat the Portal as far as the sound quality, but it's up there. And it's a big sound. There's a lot of bass to it. It's kind of missing some definition in the high end, though. Smith, would you give this to your daughter to play with? She actually did ask to play with it, and yeah, she enjoyed it. I think it's a little bit probably bigger of a handheld versus what she's used to with like the Switch Lite and all that, but didn't seem to mind. Okay. We need to enable the controls. And let's push these graphics up. All right, 60 FPS, high image, high there. And yeah, dipping a little bit, but I think you're looking okay there. Very nice screen quality, though. Yeah, the sticks I do like better than the RP5. I appreciate, though, the style that they use here because you can swap them out with hype sticks, meaning you get to put big sticks that feel more like this style. Super chats. Retroception, welcome. How's the weight compared to the Portal? Sure. As we pivot to the next thing, let's look at the weight. .444, 444 grams compared to 437 grams. So it's a little bit heavier than the Portal compared to the Odin 3, which comes in at 385. Very lightweight. And the G Cloud, that's what I'm really curious about. So the G Cloud is still the winner in weight, just by a long shot, 189 grams. But the way they distribute the weight in this tricks my brain because I would have guessed that this was about 300 grams if I had to guess. It's very distributed. It's not all centralized like the weight is in, for instance, the Odin 2 Mini, which feels very heavy despite being lighter weight at 341 than this. This just is all compact, like feels a bit like a brick to me. 444, and then their AirX, why not, 282. While we're at it, Conquer Pocket Fit at 389. I need to eat some food. So my brain works. 306 grams on the RP6. 423 Odin 2. And the Steam Deck 621, the chunk, the big boy. RP5 and G2 should be about the same, so 270 grams there. Okay, that's all the weight comparisons. Heat. So again, we are on extreme. Looking at 24 degrees Celsius there, 28, 32 in the handles, right where the exhaust is. It stays pretty dang cool. And the other thing I noticed about this, and you know this if you've been using any Snapdragon 865 device, the battery life is awesome. Like, it's been sipping on battery. I've charged it once just to get it towards 100% for this stream. And I should have taken I'll have to make a pinned comment with where the battery life started at the beginning of the stream because I don't remember now. But yeah, we're still at 87%. So let's see how much more we degrade from there. A good game to test out just sticks for shooting and stuff. Gunfire Reborn, personal favorite. A lot of fun. Any PWM flickering? You know what? That's a great call. I haven't seen any. However, we haven't tried all refresh rates on camera. Look at that. At 144 hertz, you are getting a little bit. Do you see that? At 120, clean, nothing, right? 144, yeah, there is some PWM flicker. Would you look at that? Good question. 144, 120, awesome. At 90, nothing. That looks good. At 60, nothing. So yeah, if you leave it on native 144, you are going to get some of that PWM flickering going across. Huh. Gamma squeeze to the rescue. Get some Gamma OS going. You know, it's going to bug me that I didn't get to show you guys the modules. So let me get like a pry tool. Yeah, if you want information about the Pocket Max, the full specs and everything we know about it, it is on our website, retrohandhelds.gg. It's the top link I have in the description right now. Did I miss anything? Oh, the battery. We missed calling out the battery. Let's actually pull up those specs, Sony. Thank you. Thank you. Good call. So it has the Adreno 650 in it, the 8 gigs of LPDDR4, active cooling, 7-inch AMOLED, 144, 1080p, yep, Wi-Fi Type-C, Wi-Fi 6. Let's check if the Wi-Fi C has video out as well. USB 3.1, Android 13 is on this one, and battery is 8,000 milliamp hour. They say fast charging goes up to 27 watts, but again, I couldn't push past 25. Yeah. So there's that information. All right, Sony, I'm ready. Let's play some games here. What you didn't see is off camera, I've been trying my damnedest to pull out these dang modules. I wish they made it easier, so maybe they can loosen these a bit, reduce the magnetic force on them, or whatever they can do, because I got them out well enough the first time. I kind of had to stick my fingernail into the side of the D-pad and then pull up, and eventually it would come out. But unless there's some special method to this, but when I put it back in, I put it in tight, so just to make sure it's flush. It was kind of bugging me that it was a little bit off-centered here when I put it back in, so I put it in flush, and now it's being stubborn and not coming back out. But the feel of the D-pad is, to me, much better on the rubber membrane versus these clicky. This is the kind of click you see on like Razer Kishi controllers, you know, that style, just very shallow. Or maybe on the backbone. It's okay. Yeah, that mechanism is interesting, though. Yeah, so they do have modular parts. Like, pretty neat there. Getting those parts out, that's the tricky part. And you can see I'm really putting some force onto it. Maybe a MANGMI rep can drop by the comment section on the video and say, "You silly YouTuber, here's how you get the modules out," but they're now stuck. DJ Raphael, clicky buttons are better for retro games. Yeah, they can be. It's nice that they're giving people the option. For those of you who enjoy the clicky style buttons, well, you have it here. It's just not my preference, that's all. So I'm not saying it's bad, but you do get better travel, and they're a little bit deeper buttons on the mushiness there, the mushy rubber membranes. Here's a comparison. They're pretty dang close, though, but this just feels a bit better to me. Oh, there you go. So they're just grabbing the sides of the buttons and it's coming out. Yeah, but it's really... Okay, here we go. You know what? Hold on. They have little groove indents on those on X and B. Here, look at this, Sony. Let's pull back over to me. I got a torque. Thank you for showing that to me. Yeah, there's little grooves. Look at that. Okay. Aha. Well, now it's in the spiders. So here is the mechanism for the module. Drop it in. And now we got clicky. The controls are not sending through to Gunfire Reborn here, though. What's up with that? Controller on. What's going on with this? Maybe switch to PlayStation. Screw it, we can play Gunfire Reborn a different way. We got GeForce now, baby. Please don't feel bad. Come on, NVIDIA. Oh yeah, so different colorways there. They're saying February 2nd. You got black, you got white. You got the white with the orange accents, the black classic. Looks great for OLED, and then this kind of retro look gray here. Smoker's gray, or tan, or whatever you want to call this. You tried both the D-pad and button modules. Well, now I have, yeah. Now I've tried both the ABXYs and the D-pad. Still prefer the mushy rubber membranes. Rather LCD than bad image retention. Yeah, that's fair. Although that'll take some time with OLED, but that's very fair. Thank you for the super chat. Would you gravitate more to the RP6 or the Portal? I can't decide. I gravitate towards the RP6. It's smaller, same chip inside. I tend to go for the smallest form factor that has the most power that I can get away with, that's comfortable to use. And that, for me right now, is, yeah, the Retroid Pocket 6. Beautiful device. Even better if you swap these sticks out again with the hype sticks. A little bit taller sticks feel good on there. I don't need a grip on this. It's just, yeah, I've been playing a lot of games on this lately. Quiet, clicky D-pad and mushy rubber membrane buttons. So you got kind of a hybrid situation there, but I love the RP6. It's a pretty good price, right? Around what, $220, $230 retail. If you want a comparable, 8 gig, but if you want to go with the higher RAM option, that's $280. And at that point, I don't know. My brain starts thinking about the Odin 3 with the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is just a monster, just a beast. Or the Conquer Pocket Fit. Losing the OLED, but damn, does this thing it's just smooth. It's just good. Or the Portal. Do you think the RAM shortage is going to affect retro gaming? 100%. It already has. Yeah, we're seeing companies like AYN and others pull back on their RAM. You saw Ambernic pull out half of its RAM out of the 34XX SP. It's still, the same price as it always has been. AYN with the whole Odin 3 RAM debacle there for a minute. I'm still pretty sure that they're using the AYN Thor RAM in there, but it makes sense. They got to save money. Now buying RAM sticks is it's tough. Prices have quadrupled on some of those I saw. Like, oh my God. See, okay. This is where this thing shines. First-person shooters feel dang good. The right stick placement is the one little iffy thing, but I think, again, we can all be honest here and say that I have a unique right thumb that isn't the standard, so I hesitate to say, my experience, and maybe this is perfect for people with regular thumbs. My thumbs are different sizes. So that's, from my perspective, I don't like it. I like where the Portal had the stick. But it still feels good. And because there's such a big back to grip onto, it's very comfortable and delightful. you guys want to see some input latency test, I'm going to turn the sound on so you can actually hear. Let me through. And if this, again, this is GeForce Now, so we're streaming right now. We're at 60 FPS, 60 hertz there, 5 millisecond ping to my local server. Do you know what time the pre-order will be available? Well, we saw that teaser in that video just now. They said February 2nd. I don't know the exact timing yet. We're going to find that out tomorrow. They said they needed to delay. They were going to announce the price today. They said they needed to delay another 24 hours. So we'll find out tomorrow, all that information. Is there grooves in the D-pad that can be easily removed? So yeah, looking at the D-pad side of things, you know what? There are. You have to dig in further. Just like the ABXY. This one's harder. But yeah, there is. There is a... Let's see. You see it right there? That little groove? Okay, so now that I know that, now I could probably use the pry tool to get this damn thing up. Yeah. This is the one I put in too tight. Never over tighten is the lesson. Oh. Yeah, this one's being a pain. The grooves are there. I put it in too tight. Don't do that. Don't do what I did. Be smarter. Oh, you know what, though? These ABXY for clicky. Very responsive, though. Just quick and responsive. Maybe I will try these out for a bit longer. Oh, no. Yeah, but yeah. This all feels very good for shooters. Speaking of shooters, moving over to emulation, let's look at PS2. Just going to stick with one game today. We'll just do TimeSplitters. TimeSplitters is awesome. This was the next game the team over at Rare made after Perfect Dark. And it is so cool. Such a good game. Yeah, what was it? 3 in this series? I didn't play the other ones, but just seeing that team iterate on that multiplayer format, that shooter arena kind of format, so cool for its time. PS2 had some great FPS shooters. Yeah, like Medal of Honor as well. And others. Call of Duty, the original. Ooh, yeah. See, this is a game. You know, they do the sound effects sound so good out of these speakers. Turn up the brightness a bit. Oh no. It didn't save my preferences. Inverse? No. Nope. No. Yeah. That green zombie is just on my case. No! The teeth, mummy. Not the teeth, mummy. Never use the teeth. I feel like that came out wrong. Okay. Nope. Come here, you. This level's so dark. And so this is on, by the way, this is the built-in version of Aether SX2. It's just 13, what, 1368? Yeah, version 1.5. Run Vulkan, 1x native. TimeSplitters is kind of a pain to get running well, so I stayed on native. When I started pushing it, we started seeing dips. Yeah, so now we're dipping down about 44 FPS. And we are still on, extreme performance mode. So you start to see the limitations of this chipset a bit. Yeah, 1x is where we're going to have to go here. M16. Come on. Who wants some? But not. No. One of these damn times. Green zombie. Haha. The brown zombie. Definitely don't want the brown zombie. Okay, we're just going to forget that ever happened. Before we move on, a couple other things. Let's look around the OS. I wanted to show you guys what you can do. You see that okay? There you go. So you do get Bluetooth. That sidebar we're talking about. Here's the fan mode. You can swap. You can change your ambient lighting around the sticks. You can do different, patterns and strobing and colors, bright, dim. Xbox, Nintendo layout swapping. Desktop mode, that's their front end. If you click on that, it's going to take you to their front end, which actually is pretty cool. I'll show you that in a second. You do get like the night light options, all your usual like screencasting, dark mode, extra dim if you're playing in bed at night. And it gets very dim. I was playing it in bed last night. So we can do that, and we can go even dimmer. And then very bright for an OLED. Yeah, just great panel that they used in here. Speaking of their front end, though, you can get to that either by clicking there in the menu or long pressing. I believe it's this button there, yeah. And this is cool because it scans your SD card, or if you put ROMs on here, it just scans the first time you open it, and you can rescan when you add games. And it just scraped, or rather, at least it loaded in. I haven't scraped artwork yet, but it loaded in everything, kind of like Console Launcher does. Just super easy in that regard. So we can play my favorite game, Alien Chaos 3D, and just launch right into it. The best game ever made for 3DS. Everybody knows it. You guys ready for this? .3DS has not been perfect on this. Like, I had to try 2 different versions of Citra. I tried Azahar, and I ended up with I believe Citra MMJ. This is a game I'm actually good at, but I get hurt on purpose because he goes, ha ha, when I get hurt, and it's my favorite sound in the galaxy. So, there you go. Oh, right, the buttons are swapped. See, I like that you can switch real quick between the two. Now we need a module that'll switch between Nintendo and Xbox. A lot of stutters, though, on 3DS. And this isn't even the worst, most demanding 3DS game there is. Like, Donkey Kong Returns is even less happy. Azahar was just the worst performance of the bunch. The latest Azahar, anyways. This is the built-in Citra they have, and again, I think it's MMJ. But you're going to need to find the most performant 3DS emulator to have a good time here. No. Well. Oh, let's do some Switch. Here's where things get a bit interesting. So I'll go straight away to one that was starting to struggle, and that's Super Mario Wonder. Things like Mega Man 11, even Metroid Dread was running all right, but you start running some of these Mario games. Okay. Now let's switch that back. Yeah. The vibration and haptics on here feel dang nice, though. Well implemented. So we're hitting 60, but just barely. If we change any variables, like if we use Citron, if we use an older turnip driver, if we're in anything but performance mode, this game starts to really tank underneath 60, like 45 to 55 FPS. But getting this to run at 60, what I did was the latest Mr. Purple turnip drivers and the latest version of Eden. So both of these, as of today, are the latest. We're running at 720p mode, so the non-docked mode. And performance is at, max. Here's a zoomed in look at those pixels. And we're dropping frames during the sequence, cinema sequence there. Yeah, Mr. Benny, something's up with 3DS. I noticed that too. I noticed that I was expecting better 3DS, so I don't know what they need to do, OTA updates or what, but it's below the standard of the Snapdragon 865 for 3DS so far. I'll be interested to see, Russ's testing and others testing on 3DS especially. Maybe I'll have an aha moment like, oh, we need to use that build or it's probably some weird restriction happening somewhere that's not even related. So who knows? How about Luigi's Mansion 3? Gorillix, what's up, man? Hey, I watched your YouTube short the other day where you reviewed our podcast. I've never seen anyone do that before. That was really funny. I was cracking up. You were talking about my thumbs. You're like, that guy's got some thumbs. I was like, yeah, this is very meta right now. This is good. Keep it up. Keep it up. The good work on those videos. Luigi's Mansion's not happy today. Might need a different driver on that one. Stubbs is Thumbelina game. Luigi's Mansion 3 is so hard to run on Elite even. Yeah. It doesn't even like that I launched it. It's like, why would you do this? We're going to have to restart the damn thing. I don't love how loud the fan, though, gets in performance mode. So I'm actually going to drop that fan a bit. It seems like it's working harder than it needs to. 865 does not need that much cooling. Well, Mega Man was working earlier. What am I doing wrong here? My Eden's all screwed up now. I have to mess around with that. All right. Time to chill out. What else do I want to show you all? Oh, yes. Look at those sexy dead zones. Who's got dead zones? We got dead zones. What a nice set of zones those are. And in their menus here, you have a bunch of settings. There's some cool things in here. So joystick settings, you can calibrate those. And one neat thing is you can calibrate the joystick curve if you want. This is something I haven't seen in these handhelds much. You can actually change the displacement there. You can just move that around to get just your perfect feeling on those joysticks. I believe you can even no. Yeah, you can change the mode there. I got to change this back to Xbox now. There we go. Give those different options. You can change your dead zone, dial that in how you want. Calibrate. You also can change your trigger settings, trigger calibration, trigger mode, between linear and the compatible mode, which is probably like the mixed mode. So between analog and digital, it's giving that hybrid mode. Trigger threshold, button expansion. So M1 and M2, you can define those. Those are the back buttons. So there's no option for video. When I click on video output, nothing comes up. So that's why I was wondering about trying some like XR glasses. So we'll do that in a second. Refresh rate, 120 hertz. Screen temperature, you can change that as well between cold, warm, and regular. Again, there's the joysticks. You can do device spoofing if you want. You can change the theme. You got some power saving options there. Updates. There was an update that ran the second I turned this thing on. What is built-in simulator? Oh, these are these are the ones that they suggested. These install when you first set it up. Oh, good. We can see the Citra. So there's the exact Citra build. 8608C5B14. They also install Artemis, which is nice instead of Moonlight. Here's another Citra they have. And yeah. Nice big screen though. That's what's nice about this thing. Your usual Android options in here. But now, let's pull out the beast. Let's see how display out works, or if there even is one. These are from Vitcher, by the way. These are their Beast glasses. They're my absolute favorite XR glasses right now. So dang good. They got my prescription in there. And I see a whole lot of nothing. Nothing, nada here. Let's try one more time. Video out's going to be a no for me, dog. Wait. Something's happening. Nope. There it is. Okay. We're good. We're good. I just had to replug it in. I was going to say, I was going to be surprised if this didn't work, but they weren't listing it, so. Okay, so yeah, it's the same as what it looks like in the Retroids or the Odin. You got a widescreen 16:9. It's mirroring this display, and it's mirroring 120 hertz as well. So that's in here. Again, it's hard to relay what's in here, but vivid OLED screen in there, and you can see that it's also leaving it on the screen here. So I wonder now if I go into those options. If we can set video output stuff. Nope. Just refresh rate. Okay. I'd like the screen to turn off so it's not mirroring like this. But maybe an OTA update. But it works. Hey, so video out's good. Awesome glasses. Let's get out of here. It's about dinner time, right? Yeah. All right, everybody. I guess got 3 more starred questions first. Just 1080 for video out. Yeah, it was doing 1080 in here. It was mirroring all the exact settings that I had. So you're gonna need XR glasses or a second screen that has those available options. But yeah, looked good. Michael Benny, does display out add latency? I had a terrible time with my Flip 2 on the TV today. And I thought I was only going to look cool once on stream today. I have to actually play a game on here. Oh, I don't know. Do some Grim Valor. Okay, so I'm going to pull this in front of my face so I can see both at the same time. No, there's no latency added. It's the exact same. Yeah, no, it's... Here's a look at what that looks like. Let's see, can you see it? There we go. Kind of. Anyways, it's cool. Yeah, no latency. All right. Great questions today. And yeah, that's running at 120 hertz. Holy crap, turned it up. I thought he was low volume. Nah, I should be coming through pretty loud, especially if I talk right here. All right, so what do you all think about the MANGMI Pocket Max? We're going to find out pricing and launch info tomorrow. If you're watching this past tomorrow, then you already know. You're in the future. That's cool. I hope that they revealed it to be $200 or below. Otherwise, it's going to be, again, a tough sell against the AYN Odin 2 Portal, which is just killing it with its Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 in there. Very, very good. Very good. But if you want a great streaming handheld and you want 7 inches and you want to, again, hopefully be at a lower price point, I think we're eating good here. No huge complaints, nothing that's like, oh my God, this is a disaster. The modules are a little tough to get out. We figured out how to get the ABXY ones out, but the D-pad is being stubborn on this one. But it's cool that that's an option. So once they get the retail models, if they haven't finished tweaking all the stuff at the factory, maybe make it a little easier to get those modules out. That's one thing. Work on the software, the OTA updates, get those out. There are just some funny software quirks as we went along here. And if you're interested in this, though, again, we'll have an affiliate link in our description, I'm guessing in the next few days. And you can get 3 different colors. You got the retro, you got the white, you got the black. Is there one that you're leaning towards? Is this really a necessary handheld in your collection? If you have something similar like the Odin 3 or the Portal or a Retroid Pocket 5, another Snapdragon 865 device. I don't know. I don't know. It feels good. It's comfortable. It feels lighter weight. But if I have one of these other handhelds, like I will probably reach for the Portal if I want to not worry about performance during Switch gaming and GameHub. Don't count out the Thor too. If you want a clamshell, the Thor is handheld of the year for us last year. So I'd play a little bit more, get the Odin 3, another nice option. Steam Deck, you can go x86 and look at like an Asus ROG Xbox Ally base unit if you get one with good quality control, of course. It's a funny place. It's a funny handheld where it's entering here. It's last gen power, but if they get the price right, it is definitely leaning for me towards a recommend. It's very comfortable, and the screen is damn beautiful. And streaming on it with 140 out of 144 hertz, very good. Check out the PWM flicker though, MANGMI, if you're watching this. For whatever reason, at 144, we're seeing PWM flicker, but not at 120, at 90, or at 60 hertz. I don't know why. But man, does it look beautiful streaming at 144. It's so smooth, low latency, fantastic. So I think streaming is the use case ultimately here. G-Cloud knocks it out of the water. Both of those absolute handhelds, the One and the One Pro, destroys them. It's the best streaming handheld I've ever used. I'm saying that, not latency-wise, decoding time-wise. It's very, very good. You can get it as low as around, 2.25 milliseconds. So that's great. We've seen better. We've seen ones that are even better. But for the form factor and what it's doing, it is, I think, the best overall streaming handheld I've used so far. Also, what the hell was going on with 3DS? I don't know there. Switch was admirable. It's about what I expected. Eden and that team is cooking, so they're getting better and better. PS2, no problem there. Even when running tough games like TimeSplitters, we're still looking good, but we need to do native res. So the 865 is showing its age. It's a funny decision to go with that. The only reason I think they would go with that and pair that lower powered chipset with such a beautiful and high powered display is if they got those displays for some really good wholesale deal and then got those chips for a good deal and then are able to give us a good deal. If that's what we're looking at here, hell yeah, sign me up. All right, everybody. I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know your comments. Live chat, I missed reading a ton of those today. So I like to go through after these streams, though, and go back and kind of read to see what people thought. And so I will read your comments. And I try to respond to those now in the pinned comments. It's my workaround if I don't have other people here with me. But yeah. Yeah, what do you think? What do you think? Does MANGMI make sense? I can tell you that the freaking Air X makes a lot of sense for its price, what it's doing for under $100. This was such an easy recommend. Love this handheld. Pocket Max, we'll wait for the price and see. Dead in the water. Or, oh yeah, you guys should go check out the Pocket Max if you want this, and this. Could recommend. Nice big sticks, absolutely. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. Once again, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed this content. And don't forget to share this with people you know in your network, across the internet, your retro gaming circles. Get the word out. We really enjoy doing this all the time. We're trying to get to weekly live streaming with these devices now. We have our podcast every Monday, and it's a lot of fun. So love being with you all here on this journey. And once again, a special thanks to our channel members, our patrons, and our subs. You guys mean the world to us. Truly, you are what makes everything possible for us here. Perks with RH start for as little as $3 a month over here. Join us in our Discord server to chat and play some games. We got Game of the Month going on. It is now February, meaning that Zoo on our team has chosen the games for February. We got 3 quick hitter games in there. We got Zelda, We got Metal Gear Solid 2, and what was the third one? Oh, I think it was like Mega Man Zero. So, yeah. I haven't played that one before. That should be interesting. And we got merch. If you want to get hooked up with some merch, you enjoy what we're doing here, that supports us as well. Check it out, retrohandhelds.myspreadshop.com. We got Rob's Oh No line. Very good, very good. But until the next time, this has been Stubbs on behalf of producer Sony and you all saying, take care of those handhelds and take care of each other too.